that's kind of where it's going right now. Is that I'm trying to right now just put together the organic piece for helping these new executives start validating their offers first. Some of them have never had clients in the past. They're just really good at what they're doing. So it's like, okay, let's validate your offer, make sure someone will pay for what your offer is. And then from there, you can start doing your beta clients and start rolling them out on a one-on-one basis and grow that into the group coaching thing. And we'll still build, like I still build out the group for them regardless.
Yep.
And then help them start practicing going live in it and getting their messaging practiced up in that too, so they can start doing that. At the same time, they're just doing beta clients one-on-one. And then when they become what I call a type 2 coach, which is they've already got past clients, they're sick of doing the one-on-one, they want to do the group coaching thing, then we can start, once they're validated, once they've got at least someone purchasing that offer,
build out
then
a group
we
package.
can start going into paid ads. Yeah, and then we can start implementing those pieces. So that's essentially what I'm doing to learn.
Let's, speaking of offer building, let's build you out one. Not to say you don't necessarily have one, but let's try it my way.
No, I think I'm super curious this.
We're going to go through, you have not filled out this sheet yet?
I kind of have, so let me pull up what I got.
Yeah, if you could. You want to just screen share for a minute?
Yeah, just a minute here.
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
This is like, I did like the sticky messaging of it. Right?
Well, the one thing that we messed up in our welcome pack when we tried to automate our onboarding process a little, they left this step out, and I told Adam, I'm like, hey man, you left this out of the welcome pack, like nobody's filling this out before my offer session, which is making it take a bit longer.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It used to be when we would onboard people, we would send them this document, hey, have this filled out before your offer session with Ray, but that's when we were doing it one-on-one. Then we tried to automate that call, and Adam left that piece out.
That reminds me of another question too. I saw at one point you had business owners still working for you in like some departments as they did all this PDOC stuff. Well, why was that? And like, how'd that work?
Our business owners?
I don't know if it was your business owners. I think it was like clients of yours, but they were still like being setters and closers for you and stuff.
No, I'm not quite sure I follow.
I just thought I saw in the 7-day challenge videos that there was like people that were in that were helping with fulfillment of stuff from PDOCs to help them learn how to do the messaging and the closing and stuff. I don't know.
No, I think you're mistaken.
I got you.
That's not ringing a bell.
Pretty good. Let me see.
It helps me to go map out your offer if I have a little bit of background on like 6 touch points that are on that sheet. So like even when people don't fill it out, I just walk through it and do it, in real time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's going to take a little longer. Plus we bullshitted for 5 or 10 minutes. So we'll be going till at least 10 o'clock, not 9:45 my time, but that's cool. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to get it done right.
You're good. I appreciate that.
Speaking of fulfillment, you weren't on any of last night's calls, were you?
No, I'm going to have to watch those recordings. But from my understanding, you guys partner people together to kind of make their offers more.
Well, what we actually rolled out last night, and there's a special replay of it already in the Slack channel, is we partnered with a new company that is doing some amazing things with AI. So certain clients, particularly our clients that are doing SEO or PPC in particular, or that want to get leads for local businesses, we just rolled out a self-fulfillment package where they can literally build their own agency while we do all the fulfillment for them. It's a pretty cool, you would have to check it out. I don't want to go through everything right now.
I think I checked it out on the Loom, which is like the local stuff, right?
Yeah, but last night we actually had the 2 people that own that company and that software get on with us and answer all of our clients' questions, explain it in much more detail. I know Adam's Loom was about a 4-minute, very vague description. It didn't go into too much depth.
Okay, I'll have to watch that replay.
We didn't want to answer a lot of questions until we got the actual owners of the software on, because who better to ask than those guys?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sorry,
it's pretty amazing what they do. We already had 8 clients sign up for that service last night.
Really? Holy cow.
And only a small percentage saw it.
Wow, that's pretty legit.
It's pretty cool. It's something you may be able to mix into what you're doing. I would recommend taking a look. I don't know if it's the best fit for your offer.
I just don't know either. That's the thing too, is I've been like going through many coaching programs of like at least pretty far into them. I purchased quite a few and just like trying to find the ones that gotta fit what I'm wanting to do.
Yeah.
The tricky part. Jeez, I can't seem to find it, so I can basically just answer it as we go through.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I'll go back to bringing it up on my screen. No big deal. So let's just go in like very simplistic form. These can be very short answers. We don't need to get too in the weeds there. What would we say is the biggest problem you're solving?
These coaches want to have influence and start making money online.
Just so I'm clear, are they already coaches?
Some of them have. Like the first client that I had signed up, he has coached doctors in the past how to
cool.
switch from insurance-based practice to a cash-based practice. So that was the first.
That's probably pretty cool.
And it was really cool. It was sweet.
For doctors, I mean, like for the actual clients.
Yeah, like it saves them a lot of headache. But
okay, who suffers with it is largely corporate executives and such, the people you're working with, kind of.
Yeah, feels like it. This group, that's kind of who they are. And like, but then there's this other woman that signed up for it too, and she's the one that I charged $3,000 for, and she did, and I still should have. It was way more than $3,000 work. I feel like at least maybe I just suffered it, but
I'm sure it is.
The problem is that she hadn't had any past clients that she's coached through a divorce before, but she's done financial advising, and so she wants to become a divorce planner. And so we kind of mapped out her offer with her and did a ton of like interviews for copywriting and stuff, dialed in her, like cleaned up her messaging at least to start testing, and then built everything out for her. And so now I'm just at this point of like, okay, she is not in need of the group per se right now. She's in need of testing and validating her offer and just getting her first beta clients online.
Okay.
So that's kind of where she's at right now. She's been in the groups and studied the copy of stuff and seen what the problems are. We've done all the research, like crazy in-depth research on that. And
okay.
So there's kind of like those type 1 and type 2. Type 1 doesn't have any past clients, but they have an expertise from their job.
Yep.
And the other one is someone who has been coaching people in the past and doesn't like the one-on-one, lack of scalability.
Okay. Cool.
So. Here's the thing though, the doctor purchased clients and community stuff. He knows all about their stuff and he just still couldn't build it out or do anything with it. And so he's like, I don't have time to do this. It's like such a windy course and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll go through the windiness, kind of compact it so I can build it out for you. And so my offer is like kind of like a done for you where I build out the stuff for them. And then they have to still do it. They still have to use the machine. They still have to use it themselves. So yep. I'm just in the middle of filming the videos of teaching them how to use it, what we built for them.
Gotcha. So what's the solution you offer in simple terms?
Frick, dude, I filled this out. I wish I just would have filled it up. Essentially, the solution is helping these coaches build a Facebook group online that's monetized. So I help them monetize a Facebook group.
Build and monetize Facebook group. Simple enough. Cool. What do you think is the sophistication level of your audience? And I can elaborate if need be.
Low.
That's what I was thinking too, just from your initial explanation. That's a simple one. Question 5, I'm pretty sure I already can answer yes, but you can reassure me.
I have certainty I can deliver a build. I'm certain I can create all the tech and all that sort of stuff. I'm still at the point where I'm like, can they use it? So that's where it's like, do I have certainty I can deliver this solution? I will remain in beta until they get their first clients. Then I'm like, sweet, they've got their first clients, which is kind of right at the next 2 weeks here. I'm finishing filming these pieces to help them do that. And then it will be just testing and working with them until they do. Once they do get those first clients, heyday, sweet. Because we know it's already working for Shelly and the way that she's doing her group when it comes to the clients and communities model. It's this PDOC stuff of getting these guys their first beta clients, or at least getting people to join their group. Once I can see that pieces, then I'm like, okay, cool.
Yep. So. That's the same model I teach my clients to build and monetize a Facebook group. I made a freaking 20-minute video, 30-minute video telling people how to do that from scratch or revamp theirs. It's actually an art.
Yeah, I saw that already.
But it's very similar. I was going to say it's very similar to what you're doing. It's got to be.
It's quite a bit different in the way the group operates itself, but in the way that you're talking about how like to create the group a little bit. Some pieces are good. There's a lot more. I mean, it's like there's so many different settings you do and the way they utilize the guides. But
yeah, that's true. That's true. How long do you work with your clients here now? You're doing more of a done for you type of service, right? So are you doing
the idea is it'll be a 12-week program.
Okay.
So it's like in the first month, they have their offer figured out. I've already built out their.
Oh, we'll get to that part. We'll get to that part. Don't go too into depth yet on that. We have another sheet that's where we're gonna actually map this out. Let me just run through. Let's just run through 4 things real quick that you think are obstacles your audience or prospects would need to overcome to achieve their result of building and monetizing a Facebook group.
The biggest obstacles that they face are going to be depends how much they paid, I feel like, because their time is one thing. So it's more.
I think you just hit one of the big ones.
Going to run into. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've solved them through it. So I just got to think what obstacles I'm solving.
Well, another way to think of this is the way you think of what obstacles your prospect will have to overcome and the way they think about it could be different, which is what I see quite often, due to what you know as opposed to what they know. So I know too that I hear very regularly with almost every offer, and you just kind of touched on one, time is always an obstacle, right? Like whether it being how much time do I need to put into doing this or how much time before I start to see results from this. I think you're going to get time questions and obstacles, whether you're, just in messenger flow or actually on a sales call. I think that will be one of the obstacles you're going to see quite often.
The beauty of this is once this organic stuff is figured out, in the meantime, while I'm going and building out their stuff, they can be doing organic to get their first beta clients, to get them those quick wins right off the bat.
Hell yeah. I love it. Which makes that much less of an obstacle, correct?
Yeah, totally. You want to get early wins. So the obstacles of the process will need to overcome to achieve the result. They're going to have to dial in their offer. They need to know their offer, their pillars. So they need to know their 3 pillars and what will resonate with their audience. So it's really just like offer creation, like their Sean Bossler's stuff is so good with all that. Like I've dived in so deep to all that and done tons of research around that stuff, which is why I ran into you guys, because I was like, oh shoot, these guys literally just pieced together a big piece of the puzzle I was trying to figure out on my own.
We'll keep doing that too.
Yeah, please do. And then
what about money?
Not that I've run into so far.
That's a good thing. You're one of the few.
What's so weird about it is because, that's why I chose this group. That's why I chose to work with her and stuff. Because she's like, getting all these people who are like nearing retirement that want to do an online thing, and they're all excited about it, and they all have a ton of money. And I'm like,
there's really not a lot. I don't know if it's a perception. Do they think there's going to be tech things they're going to have to figure out and overcome? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Their big concern is like, how do I use the technology?
Yep. I kind of thought that would be with the audience you described.
Yeah. The other concern will be, how do I write so much? Because Shelley's an incredible writer.
Just overall content, right?
Yeah.
Content. Okay, cool. That's 4. That's good enough for me. That's all I need. Speaking of offer pillars. Funny how you mentioned that, right?
This is very similar to what I'm doing already with them. So it's pretty legit. I knew I wasn't doing it for myself because I was like, I'm still in testing and learning what even the issues are. So I don't know.
Well, you can rip this off if there's anything helpful. I have a feeling I'm hoping there will be. But feel free to recycle. Your offer is this, now that we're going to you're mapping this out in a 12-week program, even though it's highly done for you, is this still more of a coaching offer or is it more of a agency style offer?
I feel like it's more of it's going to have to be a firm hybrid because they're going to have to learn how to use it. That's half of the issue with all of it, right? And a lot of it is the agency or almost like copywriting agency kind of piece, because we sit down with the client 7 different times to dial in the messaging and get what they already know, all their knowledge out of them and put on the paper so that they can see, oh, that's how I'm going to describe my ideas. That's how, essentially figuring out, those are the problems I know they're having because I had that too. You know what I mean?
So are we doing this in more of a social media agency type of thing, which seems like it might be more on the back end of your offer? Yeah. Or what are your thought process with this offer that we're talking about now when it comes to coaches wanting to have influence, you building and monetizing the Facebook group and teaching that? I guess in simplest terms, what do you call what you do? What do you call yourself when people say, hey, Tyson, what do you do?
Copywriting freelancer that partnered with the owner. That yeah, that's kind of
We don't want to use that verbiage right here.
right. Yeah. So yeah, essentially it'd be like a social media agency. I hesitate to say that because I don't do all social media. It's just for this process, you know.
Yeah, but you don't, just because you don't do all platforms and all strategies doesn't mean you're not. I mean, a social media agency can only practice, I mean, can only be really good in one platform at times or one strategy. It doesn't really matter as long as you're getting results. Social media agency, you are going to be, from the sounds of it, primarily Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. The LinkedIn stuff that will probably come into place for people like the doctors, which I do see LinkedIn becoming a thing next.
Yeah.
It'll be the next
Yeah. I think you can take some of what's in our modules too and kind of mix it into what you're doing in terms of LinkedIn strategy.
Got it.
What are you charging right now for a client to work with you? And let's say we're going to do a 12-week, thing where they're working with you.
All that I've got a client to pay has been $3,000 so far, but ideally to me, I tried pitching a guy at $6,000. He was super interested, but then he's also really someone I didn't want to work with. So
is that $3,000 for the whole 12 weeks or $3,000 per month?
It was for the whole 12 weeks.
Oh, hell, that's cheap, man.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And like at least everyone I described it to in this group, including her, she's like, this is like a $10,000 program minimum, like 15 because you're freaking building their business for them almost. So when I went to OfferMind, the coaches that were there, Steve's two coaches there, they grilled me on this because they're like, what are you doing? Because I was like, I don't see it. I don't think OfferMind's going to help me do what I'm trying to do right now. It's too much social media land. And you guys are more like sales funnel webinar stuff. And they're trying to say like, yeah, but this is what the principles will convert over. And I was like, I know, but I also know someone else's principles who will convert over. So we'll see necessarily. But essentially they were up like, good, okay, gotcha. They were like saying, well, you're basically building their whole business for them. Why not 50? Like, that's like 25K and blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know if I'm that big of an operation. So I don't necessarily know. Any suggestions for what you're thinking? 5K for 12 weeks. Then
you're going to charge. Yeah, that's still low. I just want you to get 5K for this program for the first 2, 3, 4 clients. And then this offer is easily worth $7,500. That's what we're going to end up getting you to charge. That's going to be your core offer. I just want to see you validate it at 5K for our first couple of clients before we go up to that. And I would like you to have a little more confidence that you're kind of out of beta phase. I'm saying that price is when you're no longer beta.
Yeah, I agree.
Makes sense.
Which hopefully these filmings should be done here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I imagine it won't be too long for you.
And then just testing and getting them freaking.
When we go into Avatar, I mean, I'm sure you've seen all kinds of different things on this.
Dude, too many.
Yeah, we go a lot more vague. I've been through coaching programs and worked for other companies where they'll give you this,
I've seen traffic and funnels and I've seen clients and communities.
So you've seen their Avatar worksheets?
Dude, in fact, I've done like crazy intense Avatar worksheets. That's part of the copywriting interviews too.
Oh, me too. No, me too. I have some, I mean, even traffic and funnels is just like, I want to say 9 or 12 topics that they cover in there. It's off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, like I did one with there's literally the one that I have is turned into like a 30-piece report. So there's like so much. Do you know?
I've done one like that through Russell's kind of process where I went super, super in depth. Anyhow, long story short, I've seen a lot of different things. I've tried a lot of different things. I think I've tried a lot of things unsuccessfully when it comes to Avatar. Like I tried to follow the program I was in at the time to the T when it's like, hey, we want to know everything about our ideal client. What the fuck do they eat for breakfast? What's their favorite TV? All these irrelevant things. And then we try to like create messaging to reach that one little person, right? Like at PDocs, our philosophy is a lot more broad in that sense. We want to go with a bigger, wider, more general, basic avatar, as weird as that sounds, because what we're doing a lot of times is crafting our own customers out of that bigger marketplace by making them aware, by showing them, knowledge gaps in their system, things like that. So I really focus on like 3 main factors when building out an avatar. First off, like the who, you want to be working with corporate executives that want to get into online coaching, right? Secondly, I would say, what are some key characteristics, traits of your ideal client? And not only that, what are any potential prerequisites to working with you? Like I know, for example, some of my clients only work with business owners that are already working with clients that are doing over 10K months, that have been in business 2 years. Like there's some prerequisites. So do you have any prerequisites first? And are there any key like characteristics, traits, attributes that you think fall within your ideal client?
Outside of this group, when we get going, they will be experienced coaches that have had clients in the past. But for inside of this group right now, it is six-figure earners who have either started their own business as an entrepreneur, like this woman was a financial advisor, she started on her own, or and the other guy was a doctor who's retired, you know what I mean? So he's just sitting on a ton of money.
So they've already started or looking to start an online business.
Well,
right?
These people are all literally over the age of 45, 50, 60. Like it's
no, I get that, but I'm saying they've either already started or they're now looking to start online.
Yeah.
Okay. Six-figure earners who've already started or any other key, maybe traits, characteristics, component, attributes to these people, or not so much? That's not really something you're focusing on.
So I just know who's in the group right now. It's me, like they're already gathered there. She's already done her own profiling, and to her, they're executives that see value in a network and want a network to grow their business and scale their businesses. And so some of those people are wanting to scale their businesses through the same model that Shelly's doing, which there's wedding planner coaching there.
Yep.
There's lots of stuff. So.
Oh, I should introduce you to a client of mine that's launching a platform that is just for, I'll talk to you about it. Message me later. Actually, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, you told me about her. I remember you saying that she did some sort of a platform.
Yeah, it's even more relevant now since I've had another session with her and saw how much closer they are to launch. And I mean, she has well over 7 figures invested into this.
Okay, gotcha.
Before even launching, she's already put 7 figures behind this. It's it's a lot more established for for something not totally created and launched yet than I had even anticipated until I recently had another call with her. I think it was last Friday, maybe. Yeah, it was just on Friday. So another thing I like to think about is my third real defining factor of the avatar we want to work with is what are something that they may have already tried or to get this going and failed at?
Well, obviously they purchased clients and community stuff, one of them.
Okay.
That didn't work because they just couldn't figure it and wrap their head around the tech. And there's so much integration and everything, like it's so complex to them. So the big piece of this is integrating the technology.
Okay.
And then the other big place is understanding the messaging of like the marketing of it. You know what I mean? These people that's the biggest complaint in this group that we hear is I was an executive and I was great at my job and there was a marketing department for the marketing stuff. So I didn't have to rely on the marketing for us to get sales. But now that they're on their own, now they're like trying to learn the marketing and they're trying to figure out all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep. Makes a lot of sense.
It's a habit. If I keep asking, that makes sense. And that's just a sales thing.
That's probably my number one question I ask.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Have you filled out your little kind of sentence format like this or no?
Yeah. Freaking, I wish
you can't find it though, huh?
No, we're good. I can do this. And I'll pull it up later too. But essentially, it's like I help coaches go from
coaches. You don't even want to use corporate executives here, huh?
Oh, I mean, like essentially, I'd like them to think of themselves as a coach, right?
Okay. No, I think you're right. Actually, I just don't know if they do think of themselves. Maybe you're talking to that market more often than myself.
I think that a lot of them would like to think of themselves as coaches. I think they would like to think of themselves as wonderful networkers, and they'd like to think of themselves as executives. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, in that being the case, then I'll play to that. And
what else did you come up with from there? You help coaches.
Or
do you want to kind of brainstorm and walk through it together as I would normally?
Totally.
Okay. So anyway, my example below is for another client of ours. She works with business owners that are at about 15, 20K months. They've done this pretty much on their own. Those solopreneurs, they work with a spouse or maybe one business partner, one team member, like a very small operation, right? Actually, this client usually works with more agencies. I would rather her specify in this, but she wanted to leave it open to much more business owners, which is cool. I still want to build these within like the client's vision as well, right? Then when we got to the physical pain, as cliche as it is, and I like to make these stand out, like I don't like to use these cliche terms, but also with somebody like the offer I'm using as an example here, she already has a lot of existing clients, and that's like what resonates more with her audience. So like, as much as I want to make these all unique, I also don't want to go away from the key terms that resonate with your audience. You know what I mean? If it is a cliche term, I'll stick with it just for the fact, especially somebody that knows her audience as well as this example. But anyhow, her business owners that she works with, what she found is like they got to these 15, 20K months, which is cool, right? But now that's kind of like their benchmark. That's kind of like, you know, where they need to be every month because they've got to this, they've attained it. And the problem is to get to those 20K months, you know, doing this by yourself or with one partner, they're doing all of the organic, all of the copywriting, all of the, if they're starting to mix in paid ads, they're doing that. They're doing the sales calls, they're doing the fulfillment. So like, they're just doing so many tasks to get to that benchmark that they can no longer have time to put money and time into how to grow the business. So they keep hitting those 15, 20K months pretty much repeatedly, but they're starting to burn out and they're not seeing a way to grow. Now, Jess runs a consultancy offer. This is the client I'm talking about, where she really taps into two things: recruitment. She had a corporate career in recruitment, so she's really good at outsourcing, delegating, or if they're looking to build a team, even bring in and you know, put the right team member with the right business owner and start to hire people, right? The other thing she's really good with is organic marketing. So she helps get their team dialed in on how to do that so they can, again, outsource it, or one team member can focus on it for a short period of time a day and still get the results that they may be putting in double or triple the time into right now. So that's a little background, but she said that there's just constant burnout in that business and her ideal clients. And again, burnout from, you know, doing 6, 7 different tasks, putting 10 to 12 hours a day in the business. When they really launch this thing to kind of have that work-life balance, they're not really seeing it because they're, so like that was their physical pain, right? And then when we get to the physical desire, the way I like to think about that is like, what does that look like on the other side when burnout's no longer an issue, right? And these people just wanted to be stress-free within their business. So what that means for them and why we worded it like this, they literally just want to come in, look at their computer, their calendar, and be like, sweet, you know, I got 4 sales calls and 2 client fulfillment sessions. That's my focus. That's my day. I'm not doing 6, 7, 8 different things. I'm not doing my copy, my social, you know what I mean? And then when we got to like the emotional pain, Jess was telling me, she's like, Ray, my clients just keep talking about constant headaches from putting out fires at work, headaches from doing 7 different tasks, headaches when they get home. And now they promise their spouse work-life balance, but they miss dinner with little Timmy. Like it just doesn't stop their day. It's just constant headaches. I'm like, okay, so what does that look like on the other side for them, Jess? And she's like, they don't know how to do it, but all they want is an optimized, efficient business where they're not, you know, doing 7, 8 different tasks. And then when we got to the obstacle with her offer, well, again, she has a lot of existing clients. So she actually was able to go poll like her top 5 clients and be like, hey, what did you guys think you needed before you started working with me to solve this? And she pretty much got the same answer from everybody. Jess, we thought we needed our own copywriter, our own media buyer, our own appointment setter, our own project man. Like basically they thought they needed an army of experts. And because Jess has an expertise in recruitment, delegating and outsourcing tasks, she can help them alleviate a lot of this stuff without having to hire multiple, you know, consultants or professionals. So that's just a little background of why I came up with that example and kind of the thought process on how I filled in the blanks.
Yep.
What would we say is the number one kind of physical pain from the coaches you want to be working with and want to be helping?
Just from what I've seen, they're wanting to implement a way to make money online. So like that's our number one thing, is learning how to start and monetize a Facebook group. Right.
Okay.
Just simply they're seeing this amazing thing where Shelly's putting in 40K a month. They're seeing her messaging. It's incredible. They want it themselves. The problem is there's not really a cost of doing nothing for a lot of them because they haven't started yet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In some cases, that's the problem with it. And so the biggest pain is like helping them go from, like, I think in this piece, I think I said I basically help coaches launch a high ticket offer so that they can like get the influence and the freedom of vocation that they want without the overwhelm of technology.
I like that. So help coaches launch a high ticket offer. That's not going into the pain at all, though.
No, it's not. It's like more of a desire based one. So
yeah, that seems like what I should be saying on the other
because
side.
what's the pain when they're not starting out?
Well, I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, and we'll talk it out for a minute. I think it's them not knowing what they don't know. It's just the lack of, where do I start? What strategy do I implement? How do I implement it? I think it's more of the overwhelm, like, of not knowing what they don't know yet.
It is. It is like where to start. Like I help coaches learn to start and make it. I don't know, go from.
Let's try this for a minute and we'll go back and fix it or adjust it if need be. And then I think in the second part of this, you'll see how I lay this out in 1 minute. I think in the second part of this is where I want to talk about them launching that high ticket offer after I go through the physical
making
painting.
It sticky or whatever. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, gotcha. It'll be more on the emotional side,
okay.
Which is totally fine. I'll coaches go.
Which is funny that this is the physical desire, because to me, overwhelming confusion is emotional.
Yeah, I know. They are, but they actually tie in with one another. It's kind of, especially with somebody. So where I say this really stands out, I don't think the emotional or physical pain, as opposed to, they really need that much of a separation when you have more of a business or an ROI offer. I really focus on separating the physical from the emotional when you're doing more of a transformational offer. Weight loss, the emotional desire is far different from the physical. Mindset, that kind of thing. ROI offers, they can really go hand in hand, the pain points. You don't really need to separate too much the emotion and physical.
Gotcha.
A little different. If you were doing a transformation offer, I would be much more sure how I separated those.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What I mentioned first here, regardless if you would categorize it as physical or emotional with a more ROI business type offer, is really just the number one emotion or the number one pain, whether it's physical or emotional. It's like, for these people, I think it's overwhelming confusion.
It totally is. Yeah. Now having.
That's not spelled right.
Good.
Will they understand? Hold on. I might go back to this 1 second. Let me finish it all out, but then I'll go back and adjust.
Dude, you read my mind.
Really?
Yeah. I'll like stop spinning the wheels 100%. And they are interested most in a high ticket offer. Yeah, 100%. Because that's what Shelly pushes in her group so much. She's like, guys, high tickets where it at? I was selling $97 memberships. Now they're $3,800. Changed my business.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And this is without the obstacle. So basically the obstacle is without the overwhelm of technology.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, steroid. You're a genius, right?
Shush. You know everything I'm doing. It's supposed to be ninja tactics.
Dude, even then though, dude, I freaking love that. Dude, I geeked out all over this stuff. So then even in the knowledge gap thing, everything Adam was like talking about, I was like, oh yeah, I totally know where that is. Sweet.
I still get pissed off that I can't do those as good as Adam.
I don't know, dude. He's like got it, at least from, maybe I'm just really studied up, but to me it was like kind of confirming stuff that I already knew, but then adding the element that I didn't want, which is like, you have to work with people over 10K. And I'm like, okay, fine. So it's kind of, it's pretty good though.
It's hard to kind of replicate what he does to a degree.
Yeah. So one thing that helped was like the way he opened.
Yeah.
He just said, okay, what's your first question that you're going to ask them? Then, like he nails it down to the reference point of like 10K or less. If you're in an ROI offer, you don't have a choice. It's not like a type of person. It's a 10K or less.
Yep.
And then he doesn't even fill out the last side. Like,
Generally
okay.
speaking, that's true. We've had a couple clients where we filled out both sides, but he tries to give people toward, because it's so much harder to work with people down that other side of that spectrum.
Unless you do, and I could see it being really hard to work with other people down the spectrum if they weren't freaking warm as all get out and already knew you.
Yeah, you're in a little different circumstance.
But the thing is, even then, he's just like, no, dude, it's still on the 10K side because you just say simply, because the money's already there. The whole purpose of the 10K is really just, do they have the money to pay for your offer? And then it's like, okay, cool. So are you charging 3K or not? And I'm like, well, what if they haven't built it in the end? Then he's like, well, then they're not charging 3K. So then it comes down to, is it fulfillment or is it leads? I'm like, well, it'd probably be fulfillment. He's like, yeah, because they have zero fulfillment because they don't even have an offer. So that's what brings you to the knowledge gap of let me create a Facebook monetized group, which is why we have so much demand in it. So we were already hitting the knowledge gap there, but then this will help me later on in my own side of the business when I stop partnering with this lady, or for outside of this group at least. When I do more freelance stuff of just social media management, at least, and get into this more myself and the copywriting pieces.
Yep.
To learn those other knowledge gaps.
So something tells me you're already familiar with offer pillars.
Yeah. So I've seen traffic and funnels training. I've gone through clients and communities are more messaging pillars. So I just clarified to clients that the messaging pillars are going to be different than your actual offer pillars.
Yeah.
Because your offer pillars are just how you're going to deal with fulfilling more than anything. And some messaging around it, but like it's okay if you have 4 offer pillars and 4 steps to getting the result. But then in your drums that you're just banging on in the group, you're only talking about 3 main things because you might have grouped 2 pillars together. That's fine.
Yep, I agree. So I'll tell you my thought process here and what I usually build out in, I think I got roughly 100 high ticket offers I built in the last 6 months, give or take. And well, what I've found is probably 80% out of those 100, probably 80 out of those 100 roughly. I usually go with 4 pillars, I think. And every once in a while we'll have offers with 3. From my perception and from the marketplace's perception of, all the offers I've built, I think once you go with more than 4 pillars, I see this a lot with newcomers. They want to offer everything to everyone. I want to help everybody. But like once you start offering 5, 6, 7 things in your offer, it goes back to a classic Sam Ovens line, right? You become a generalist in a bunch of areas, but not really a specialist in the 3 or 4 areas that are going to actually get results for your clients. So I don't like to go beyond 4 pillars at all. I think it starts to water down your expertise once you go past 4. On the other flip side of the spectrum, under 3 pillars, I think is more of a perception of the market that why this doesn't work. Because like you could have 2 core pillars to your offer, could solve a huge problem, and it could get results really fast. I think especially with a lower sophistication market, people are going to be like, oh, I'm paying $5K or $7,500 and I only get 2 like deliverables. And it's just like, it becomes a harder sell in terms of perceived value. Many times they just don't want to pay high ticket for only necessarily 2 deliverables. The way I like to map this out best with people is to kind of go from scratch and not pretend you don't already have an offer, but instead of, let's say, probably somebody like you has already been through an exercise like this and mapped this out a few times. So you already have a preconceived notion of what this should look like.
What's cool is actually, dude, I on purpose didn't do that because I'm experimenting still and learning and putting together stuff. So I purposely have done it for other people and not for myself because of this exact reason where I'm like, I will find a coach that knows what the fetch they're doing. And then I will go through that process myself. So I've been waiting for this for a while. So I'm actually
all right, good. I'm glad to hear that. So then let's do it in this sense. This is my favorite way to try to build these out with somebody that hasn't, especially if they haven't already done it for themselves. Cool. Let's just say I'm your ideal client, right? I have an expertise. I've been an executive for years. I want to go into coaching. I'm ready to roll. The tech shit I don't want to do. And I don't have a lot of time. So I want to hire you to do my shit for me, Tyson. What's the first thing we start doing when we work together?
We need to figure out who your ideal customer is, so we can start tailoring messaging to them and creating an offer around their actual problems instead of assumed problems.
So this is really diving into the actual ideal client?
Yeah, that's going to be like the first pillar is figuring out who, and the reason why is because this is going to come into play later on in content. Because
let's think of me the 3 big subtopics or components within mapping out your ideal client. You just mentioned a couple of them. I wasn't typing though.
You're good. The first component is going to be essentially like your origin story for yourself.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I know exactly where you're going with that. Go ahead.
Totally. The second is going to be essentially the customers. It's just your customer avatar itself. And then the third piece is going to be your offer creation. Once you understand.
Do your people know the term avatar when you come into contact with them?
Yeah, I usually explain it to them pretty well. Like, do they know that? No. Okay, so these guys, I would say, do know their ideal, probably because Shelly talks about it a little bit.
Okay.
And the things we have, like, I guess we have SLOs or whatever you'd call. We have lead magnets already in her guides sections up her. So she's got a paid group that we mainly market to because they've already paid $3,800 to be in here. They're already so warm, and they're like, "Oh, we want to do what you're doing." And so in the guide section, I have a whole hour-long training in Funnelytics where I've just built out this whole entire funnel. So you can literally see the whole clients and communities model.
Yep.
And I've actually done the organic now too. It's in there that I can just show and explain every piece and all the softwares involved. So if they want to go try and build it out myself, they can. But anyways, point is origin story, customer avatar, and then then it is just the clarification of the offer.
That would be within this pillar?
I mean, like it's all in regards to like messaging. So it's more like their messaging pillars. So it's like dialing in their, or like writing up their messaging. And that involves me writing out their launch sequences for their profile or for their group launch and for their promo cycle when they put that through their group to start getting their first round of group coaching beta clients, their landing page copy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. What would you do next once you've mapped that out with your client?
Integrate all the tech and put it all together. So just build the machine.
So you're doing that before we even map out their offer?
No, that's part of the messaging, I guess. So.
Oh, really?
Mapping out, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like, to me, it's like you're kind of already doing that in that sequence. So I guess, yeah, I got to break this up a little differently then. So
I would think if you're starting with ideal client, you would go into offer second before you went into tech integration. Personally for me, I don't think mentioning ideal client and going through these things is really necessarily the same as mapping out your offer, unless you have a different thought process than I.
No, I think you're right. Just let me pull up what I do so I can.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, though.
No, I'll show you here. I agree. So the first thing we do are research their origin story and their ideal client. That's like their messaging, like their three, or it's all interviews. It's getting all that information to start doing that. So it's just pillar one is all the interviews for your origin story and your customer avatar.
Okay.
And then your pillar two would be your offer clarification.
All right, so we'll take this into pillar two.
Yeah, and it would also be your course outline. So your offer clarification and then your curriculum outline.
I just want to specify that. So this would go into your messaging and clarification, which is we're going to build out your offer, correct?
Yeah. Well, this is more like, this is like your offer clarification and then your course outline, because it really maps out everything that you're going to be giving to the people. And
all right. So then run through again the components included within that.
That is your offer clarification and then the offer creation. And let me click in here, see if I'm missing anything else.
We want to try to have like 3 to each. So we mentioned clarification, creation.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, then the 3 would be this. It would be.
Well, I don't want to just like make up 3 to have 3.
No, you're good.
I'm saying
so
ideally.
It's actually packaging. So it's actually, you're going to package it.
There you go.
And then you're going to hit your big idea and 3 messaging pillars.
Packaging. I don't think people fully understand that either. I'm actually glad you put that in there and can explain that to people.
Well, and I feel like the packaging is part of the clarification. So if I were to reorder this, if I were to lead all 3 of those things, I'd do packaging first, which is already your clarification. It's already your clarification and creation anyways.
Makes sense.
And then the next thing would be then your messaging.
Okay.
And then would be your course outline, would be your third piece.
Messaging and then course outline?
Packaging and messaging and then course outline. Yeah.
You can use the word course there. I think course, so people automatically like equate to making some digital product.
Program outline is way better for high ticket, you know?
All right, good. I'm glad we're on the same page there. I just I automatically think of a 997 Russell Brunson course or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Okay. So what do we dive into next? Now would be the tech integration.
The next thing would be the tech integration. Yeah.
I think you're one of the first few to actually make a pillar like this, which I actually am super stoked about, because I think
that's either a good thing or bad thing.
I'm glad when I still get unique ones. Like, I've just built so many offers. Sometimes I feel like I'm building redundant offers almost. And I don't like to see that, because it's hard for me to say your offer stands out when it's like, I just built one like this 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm starting to see a lot of redundancies, and I'm trying to steer people away from that and be like, you know, especially when we get toward the end, I'm like, you know what? I built like 3 offers exactly like this. And if I've done this, how many other offer building coaches are building offers similar like this? So like, let's mix in something to make it stand out, and then I'll give some suggestions.
Gotcha.
But I like to see what you throw at me
tech
first.
Integration has to be a thing, because they're not going to be building it out, you know? So
exactly. So what are we doing in terms of that? Let's name our 3 main.
So you've got your Facebook group itself.
Hell yeah.
And then you've got your email automation. And then you've got your SMS text automation.
Oh, you use that? Good. I like that.
Well, yeah, that's how you manufacture so much engagement in a group. So the thing, though, is that can all still be. Can I just keep telling you, list them out, and then we'll kind of group them together?
Yeah, yeah, please do.
Okay. And then within the tech integration, you also would have your, like, essentially your landing page copy. It's like, it's your landing page. So you've got your ClickFunnels into there. So it's like your dude, I'm just going to pull up the Funnelytics thing. Let me show you.
It's all right if you have more than 3. And then, of course, I think you're right. I think we would group some of them together, kind of like email and text automation can almost be grouped together.
Yeah, it's like engagement superchargers. Okay. So essentially, it would be
It's funny that some people, when I talk to them, they still don't understand when I say SMS.
Yeah, it would essentially be landing pages, basically. Like, you know, landing page / checkout pages.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar.
And then scheduling, you know. And that involves like a jot form intake.
Gotcha.
That's I mean, like, wasn't really needed necessarily as pillars, but yeah, that's really what it is.
No, I like it.
In super general terms here. And then you also have basically like even a lot of it is intake. Like you'll use like group kits or group leads for like your Facebook manager thing. So that when people join, you put them through like a Google Sheet or a
CRM almost.
CRM, that is a CRM, yeah, for that. It's not incredibly.
It doesn't have to be an incredibly in-depth one, as long as it's serving its purpose. I hear that all the time. It's one of the big things. You must be seeing it too, or hearing it, whether it's from prospects or in other, coaching circles. But all the time I hear from people like they think the hosting platforms and the tech, the different, like whether they use Kajabi or ClickFunnels or this or that is like super relevant. It's like not really, especially starting out. It's like whatever you're using, does it serve its purpose? Does it capture
all this. I'm literally teaching all this in Google Drive with Loom videos.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Me too. I that's what I use more than anything.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
that's
is
how
it have
clients
functionality? That's all that really matters.
So Chris Stapleton and whatever his name is,
yeah,
they both, their $100 million, or I think it's the people are making $100 million a year or $100 million a month, whoever the next mentor is, from what Shelly's been telling me too, is they had their whole program, the next mentor, delivered to them all through Google Docs. That's all.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't.
And they probably paid $100K for the program or something.
You know, those guys, Landon and Chris, are Traffic and Funnels clients.
Yeah, so actually that's what I'd heard too, is that it's their new mentors after Traffic and Funnels.
Yeah, well, they work with Jay Abrahams too.
That's what it is, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's exactly who they're working with. They actually get, like, whoever does the best of the Traffic and Funnels clients. There was a guy back in the day that now they have a beef, that Tanner Chidester clients.
Dude, that guy's a snake, in my opinion, at least. Dude, I just had a buddy he's the first coach that screwed me over, but it was really me just not being ready. So I fired myself. Because like, dude, I'm not your ideal client. So, but we still kept in contact and stuff. And because he's like one of the top white labeling agencies here in the country. And so
Tanner,
Yahoo Finance. No, this other kid.
Okay.
And he went through Taylor's program that was like, yeah, dude, I paid freaking $6K for something that I had all these promises, and then I never did meet Tanner Chidester. And it's just a bunch of ripped off Traffic.
You wouldn't. It's exactly it. He repurposed Client Kit and named it, what did he name it? Elite CEOs. It's his version of Client Kit to the T.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been through the program.
Did you? You went through Elite CEOs?
Yeah. Well, my partner, I didn't pay a penny for it, but I got my partner fucking jumped on it without my approval, but he paid for it 100% out of pocket. We literally paid $15,500 for 6 months in that shit, and it was god awful. If I didn't,
$15,500 for that?
Yeah. If I didn't pillage clients out of that community because we taught a better system, it wouldn't have never been worth my time. But since I ripped off some of his prospects and turned them into my clients, it ended up making it fruitful. And I didn't spend a penny on it, but I wasn't happy with it one bit.
Dude, crazy, man.
When I just graduated the program. Oh, go ahead.
In a messenger combo, he sends it like, it wasn't him, but there was a picture of him sent to me and saying, hey, dude, I just have some spray news today. How's it going? Or blah, blah. I was like, dude, you're a freaking VA, number one. Number two, it's like in Miami, it's not light out. There's no light going through your window right now. Like, not possible. You know what I mean? And it's just such a manufactured conversation. I was like, that's clever, sleazy, etc.
Yeah.
But just weird.
Yep. They're another one that what they're doing to bring in clients is not what they're teaching their clients to do on their client acquisition. It was funny though, when we got to like the graduation call, we got on with I don't even think, outside of him knowing me because of my time at Traffic and Funnels, I probably would have never talked to Tanner in that program one bit for $15,500. I don't think I would have ever had a word or an interaction with him other than him seeking me out for some inside dirt on Taylor Welch when they were having a beef.
Crazy.
Which was kind of crazy.
It's so interesting that you're in that world, dude. That's like so.
But they asked us for like a graduation call. It was me and my partner Jesse, and Jesse's like, dude, he goes, I don't even want to fucking be on this call. It's gonna be awful. I'm like, I want to check it out just to see what the fuck they're trying on this graduation call. Like, we've already bought both of their programs lumped into one, so what could they try to upsell us on? And then I get on with my coach Molly, who's a fucking woo-woo girl. We had one call with her a month for $15,500. That was our personal coach. You get 1 half-hour call per month. So this would already been cut off and we're done. That's it this month, Tyson. But we'll talk next month. We'll finish this for you.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Sierra Luke? Do you know who that is?
I do know who that is. I don't have a lot. I don't know enough to have thoughts.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Question too, and then we'll get back to this. But Caleb Maddox, how did that interview ever go?
Oh, I was telling you about that. So we had 2 interviews with him, and he basically told us in the end, when we quoted him a price that I was hoping he would say no to, we quoted him, I think, $50K to work with us. He basically came back and said, well, why don't I just rip off everything you guys gave me in this information and do it myself? He just kept digging for information about how we would help, what we would do. And we went very deep, but I didn't give him like the full how, because I kind of had a feeling he was fishing. And at the end, he tried to be a punk and be like, hey, I could just rip off everything you told me. I said, all right, go ahead. We're done. And he messaged me back about a week later saying that if that offer was still on the table. And I said, sorry, Caleb, that $50K offer is no longer available. And I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I watched that CoffeeZilla thing right after I saw the video of you talking about it. That's what I heard it from. You didn't tell me, but I saw the video of it. And I was like, and then I watched the interview and I was like, dude, that kid is ice.
Yeah, there's a couple of CoffeeZilla episodes on him. I think I shared the 9-minute one with you, but there's a couple. There's one where he actually goes on and interviews Caleb Maddox, and that one goes on for about an hour.
I watched that one.
Okay, cool. I've seen every CoffeeZilla episode. I think the Billie Jean ones kept me going, but I've seen some good ones.
That's funny.
But yeah, so when we got on that whole graduation call, like Molly, my coach, right? She's like, would you guys be happy to give a testimonial? I was like, you can record all you want, Molly. I don't think you're going to like what I say. And I doubt you're going to use it in a testimony. I was like, the only value I got out of this program was from your network you put together. And as you saw, as Benson, Tanner's brother, and Tanner reached out to us asking to stop prospect your group. We never prospected your group, by the way. Your clients reached out to us because they saw us having more success with a different model than you, and they wanted to learn it. I didn't think by giving all, I was like, I never sold one thing to any of your clients. I will now that I'm no longer no longer in this group, but I was like, I've never sold or took one of your clients. I did give them free help, and they said it was way more valuable than the 10 or 15K in coaching they paid for from you guys. So if you want to use it as a testimonial, good luck. And she like hit the stop record in the middle of me talking and like wasn't even recording it anymore.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But anyhow,
that's crazy.
So is there kind of a fourth aspect, or does that wrap up what we do?
So I guess like once you have the tech integration messaging offer ideal client, then it just comes to how to use the system. Like once it's all built, then it's just a matter of like practicing going live into their groups or practicing their, like it's at that point, number 4 is getting clients. Like, so
how we want to call it, getting clients, implementation, monetization.
Monetization, essentially, yeah.
That's what I kind of think of this phase as.
Yeah, because if depending upon what type of coach they are, they're either putting all their organic efforts into filling that group as big as they can, up to about 50 to 100 people, so that we can just start running ads right away.
So what are the 3 things? Let's try to stick to 3. It doesn't matter if you go over, but what do we think of the 3 key things that?
So the 3 key things. Well, the things are, number 1, if there's a type 1 coach, then they need to be doing organic to get beta clients.
Organic outreach.
Yeah, organic for one-on-one clients.
I think you want to specify that more to the actual client you're working with, whether it's type 1 or type 2.
Correct. Yeah. So 1 is organic outreach for validation, essentially. And then second piece is going to be, there's organic outreach either way. You're filling the group with your organic outreach. So then at that point, then we move into,
we got to teach them how to book people on the calls, right?
Yeah, that's literally all it is at that point. Is now you're moving into sales and messaging. And then after that, then it is paid ads, so then it just comes to a point of scaling, right?
We can't have paid ads without sales coming in first organically, right?
Yeah. Well, yes. That's important.
Well, yeah. I'm saying if they've paid $5K to work with you, you're building all this out and they haven't got an organic sale yet, I don't think you'll feel great about telling them to go invest money into ads without making any ROI yet.
Oh, yeah. That's
okay, good. Great. We're on the same page. Cool.
Oh, that's the whole point of this whole PDocs is like, I need to find a way to get them to like make their money first. Before
Yeah, totally. So what I want to do for you real quick, I know we're going over. Hold on. Let me just double check. I think I left my schedule blank for like an hour after this. Let me just double check. I have nothing else booked here. I just don't want to blow somebody else off. No, I did. I left my day open until 10:45 my time.
You're a saint, dude. You're a freaking saint, Raymond. You're my favorite dude.
Yeah, well, I won't hear that for long. That'll change. I'm just kidding. What I want to show you,
you're going to hear it forever, dude.
Yeah, right. Well, this has been a bit of a long offer session, but that's all right. I like to get it done right. And we kind of went off on a couple of tangents here and there. Why I like it laid out like this is what I'm going to do real quick, Tyson, is obviously I didn't know a whole hell of a lot about your offer before this last hour. I know we spoke, briefly about what you do before. I'm going to go pitch your offer back to you and present it as if I was you and you're my prospect. And let's see if I can get you interested in it.
Okay, cool.
As you know, right, anytime we get to an offer call, where I'm a sales call where I'm about to present my offer, we would have had a assessment phase in the conversation prior to me presenting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have tried to figure out where you're at, what your struggles are, what you're trying to accomplish, yada, yada, yada. So for time's sake, and because we all know this, I'm just going to go in and summarize as if we've already had that conversation and go right into presenting.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go into role play here. All right, Tyson. So basically, from what you had told me, you're just kind of learning about the online coaching world, right? You had about 20 years in the corporate world as an executive.
Mm-hmm.
You have a skill set when in terms of leadership and how to build out teams that you've done for, plenty of the corporations you've worked for. And now you want to figure out how to turn that into an online offer and monetize it, but you're not really sure where to start. Does that sound about accurate?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And kind of where you want to be, that's where you're at now. Kind of where you want to be is you want to have a, clear path to knowing how to construct your offer, how to package and price it, how to have a strategy to build a network of influence where you can have, prospects and ultimately ideal clients. And it's even easier if I can show you a way where to, congregate them all in one place rather than jumping different platforms and learning Instagram strategies, LinkedIn, Facebook, this and that. If we can do this all on one platform, that would make things even simpler, and then teach you a way how to ultimately monetize and sell that offer. Does that sound about right?
You're spot on, dude.
All right, great. So that all being said, I just kind of wanted to summarize what we spoke about, and make sure I kind of fully understood where you're at and where you're trying to get to. So what I've done is I've created a program that's pretty much for coaches exactly in your predicament. So what I'm going to do real quickly here, Tyson, is kind of run you through what I do with clients. And at the end of that, you let me know if you think this would help you kind of get from where you're at now, to where you want to be. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. So what I do when I start working with, coaches such as yourself is first we want to get very clear on your ideal client. We do this by doing some interviews, by getting your origin story, and by really getting your customer avatar dialed in and custom to exactly who you want to work with, right? For anyone that's not sure of that term quite yet, avatar just means what this says here, your ideal client. So we want to get that really clear and honed in, and that's the first step. I kind of go through these pillars in sequential order because I could not yet get your messaging and offer dialed in if I don't know who you want to serve and who you're best, suited to serve with your skill set and your past accomplishments and accolades, right? So these are all kind of sequential and they build on one another. Again, I couldn't do 3 without 2, so I'll run through the rest of these real quick. But first off, I think having clarity on that ideal client, who you want to be working with, and who your skill set is most suitable to help, having that dialed in is imperative to getting this launched.
Right.
Next, we really dial into your messaging and offer, right? We do this through first how we're going to package it. Second, how we're going to get very clear on your messaging. So as you know, even if you haven't had success yet in the online world and you've just been in corporate positions, you told me in particular you were in kind of a leadership category on what you've done building out teams, leading other teams within the corporations you worked for. Again, if you didn't speak to your team right and your messaging and the point you were trying to convey about how you're trying to build out your team was not dialed in, it probably would have been difficult to be an effective leader. Same thing when you're online stuff, right? When we're speaking to your ideal client, if your messaging isn't dialed in, it's not resonating with them, it's not showing them the benefits of speaking with you, so on and so forth, it's going to be very hard to be successful. So we really want to get those things dialed in first and foremost. And then I'll even sit with you and help you map out your program outline. So whether we're working one-on-one with clients, whether we're working with groups, whether we're going to be doing this through, digital assets and a kind of portal of curriculum, whether we're going to be doing this all kind of in person in Zoom meetings. So we're going to really outline your program custom to what you have available and what I kind of can, give you in terms of what's worked best for other clients I've worked with, and we'll map out, what's best for your offer. I think a lot of people struggle with that, outlining their program. So it's really good to have somebody to sit down and just map that out with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next, we get into the tech integration, which is where a lot of people feel very uncertain, right? They're not sure how much tech they're going to have to learn. How advanced the tech is. Is it something I could pick up in no time? Is it something that's, I really have to go through and get familiar with for weeks and months till I'm good at it? So we're going to do this in very simple terms, and I'm going to take care of most of this for you, right? Building this stuff out for you. But when we talked about earlier where to have our prospects, how many platforms we might have to get good on or learn strategies, well, we really only have to do it with one platform because I'm teaching you kind of a Facebook group strategy, and it will be building out your own group now when we get into the tech stuff. And I'll go ahead and do this for you. We'll walk through the best practices and why we're doing that so you fully understand it as well as have it built out. That way in the future, let's just say down the road, we're no longer working together, or you want to go in and make tweaks or subtle changes to group questions or the way your posts are formatted, so on and so forth, you'll have the ability to do so. But we're going to get your ideal clients to congregate within your own Facebook group. There's no better way to reach them than having your own group. What we're also going to implement for you is email and text automations. So once you have your Facebook group, another thing we're going to be doing with your membership questions is we're going to be capturing email, which we can then upload into our CRM, which you'll see a little listed below. And then we can send out, promotions, value posts, content, whatever we want to send out to these potential clients. We're going to get your landing pages dialed in. If you're not quite familiar with that yet, what we use online is nowadays is known as more of a sales funnel rather than your traditional website. I'll get into that a bit more as we work closer with you. I don't want to get too in the weeds about that, but just think of it in terms of the site we'll be sending people to understand what you do and ultimately enroll. We're going to be automating your scheduling. That will be how you set up your day and how you schedule working with your clients. Also scheduling how you're going to be posting your content within your group. There's a few things that go into the scheduling phase. Again, we'll dive into that more. CRM, customer retention management software, right? You don't even need anything fancy, especially if you're just starting off and we have, a handful of prospects a day. We can literally set up a small spreadsheet and build a CRM right into, Google Docs, Google Sheets, things like that. Down the road, when you want to expand and grow, I'll give you some recommendations for great CRMs, hosting sites and platforms that you could possibly utilize, right? Then we get into the exciting phase for you, the business owner, and probably why you're on this call, right? It's like, got to be a little about what's in it for you. Monetization. That's what we're talking about right here, how to build an offer and then monetize. So we're going to teach you strategies for organic outreach so we can start monetizing without investing more money, right? You've paid to work with me. If we decide to work together, I'm sure you have other household life expenses. We all know life isn't free. And I don't really want you going into paid ads right away. I want to kind of teach you how to make sales with organic methods before we reinvest back into the business. We're going to teach you how to turn that organic outreach into now bookings on your calendar. And bookings, we're going to teach you how to turn right into sales. So we'll go through this again, if we decide to work closer together. Some of my clients go for a 1 or a 2 call process, which we'll talk about again as we get more into this. But bookings don't always mean sales. I just want to make sure you understand those can be 2 different things. And we got to have calls booked before we can make sales, right? The chicken before the egg or vice versa. And then lastly, once we're making some sales, once we have your high ticket offer validated organically, now we can start to teach you the paid ads and ways to start to grow this predictably and take yourself out a little bit of the time you're sinking into organic. We can, and I wouldn't say eliminate that because I don't ever want my clients to not do organic, but there are ways to outsource some of that or to scale back on how many hours we're putting into it because we now have prospects and clients coming in through paid traffic. Even more so once you have your group established, there's a bit more, there's a bit more angst into new people wanting to join this group, right? Because it's already going to become a kind of established commodity where there's being value delivered. We just need to portray that in the ad setting and then get you more prospects in that group, right? So, without going super in depth in each one of those, I tried to keep each category to a couple of sentences. Maybe I rambled a little, but can you kind of understand how this program from get you to, where you said you are now, Tyson, to where you said you want it to be?
Yeah, actually, that's a lot. That's impressive.
Excellent. Great. Cool. I'll cut role play there. But what I'm trying to do, my overall objective there is where you're at now, where you want to be. And I want to position my program as the vehicle to get you across that bridge, metaphorically speaking, if you will. Yeah. And if you can kind of walk, why I think this works really well, like laying it out like this, is it's really just the clear, concise deliverables of what you're going to give them that's going to get them their result, right? So I think the 2 areas I see people screw up, especially newcomers in this space, when they're presenting offers, they don't have confidence in presenting. So they end up starting to bring this up. Let's say, even if they have this laid out and they don't understand how to present, they have this brought up so they can know which points they're hitting when they're presenting to their prospect. But because they're nervous or they're not confident in how to present, any one of these topics, they can just get in the weeds and start talking about for 20 minutes, which totally loses your prospect's attention span. First off, what you saw me try to do, and I might have even stuck a little too long on a couple of components, but I try to, go from one to the next very quickly in transition. Couple sentences about this, boom, on to the next one. So I'm always walking them through something new, and they want to hear the next point. So that's one thing, just trying to keep it short, concise to the deliverables. I think you heard me mention a couple of times, as we work closer together, if we decide to, we'll go a lot deeper into this, but I don't want to lose you right now is basically what I'm saying. I don't want to get into my techno babble, as a good Russell term, right?
Yeah, cool.
The other thing I see a lot of newcomers do when trying to present their offer is they'll create some stupid fucking Google slide presentation and try to wow prospects with visual stuff, but it's all fluff. It's not like any of the deliverables that are going to get them results or money or leads or whatever they're promising. And it's just a bunch of fluff. So I think what's really good about this is, again, clear, concise presentation of the deliverables. And at the end, I want to get them to agree. Hey, do you think this will help you get from where you're at now to where you want to be? When they say yes, I literally go into assuming the sale. And then I'll go overcome objections. So you'd be surprised. Actually, you were one that was pretty much like this, because you messaged me saying, hey, Ray, do you have time to close me? So that was an odd one, right? But you'd be
the thing is, I feel like I was also I didn't want to talk to a setter. I didn't want to go and see. I was also super defensive because I don't want to be put through their program. I want to find the fetch that owns this thing and figure out what he's doing. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just have always been that way. So if that makes sense.
No, I like it. It's just, I deal with very few people in that capacity, but I like it. But my point here is you'd be surprised how many times somebody told me, I got through presenting my offer. They're like, hey man, that's what I need, Ray. Exactly what where's this program been? I'd be like, great, man. So that means you understand the value. I did a good job presenting it, and I put together something of value, which I tried to do. Thank you for, noticing. That being said, and we just agreed that this program will get you over to where you want to be. I don't think there's anything else holding us back from getting rolling, getting onboarding. So, what credit card would you like to use? Let's just get started today. And I literally go into assume the sale. And you'd be surprised how many times people are just like, hey, Ray, it's a Visa 3748. There's no kickback. Now, at certain times there, I'll get an objection. I need my partner. I need my wife. What's the cost? Can I divvy up payments? I'll dive into that, but I want to have them tell me what the objection is rather than try to face it and weed it out. And by assuming the sale, that's right then you're going to find out what the main objection is.
So when you close at your card, so what's the close that you use in your assumptive one? Because when I was I do door to door, and I would always be like, perfect. Now, do you guys usually use debit or credit for these sort of things?
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I don't think I really changed it from what I just said. Which card would you prefer to use today? Is that American Express, Visa, MasterCard? What's best for you? That's pretty much mine. I mean, it's the same thing you're saying, though, in essence, credit or debit to an extent.
Except for it's always credit. That makes sense. Okay, cool.
I get a lot more debit.
Really?
Yeah. I get a lot more people that are paying on debit cards. I've found.
It must just be the business thing, then.
Yeah. It depends which prospects you're attracting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think people that aren't yet, I work with now more established online business owners than not. So a lot of them would rather just pay out of what they have than leverage credit.
Interesting. Cool.
That's what I've started to find. I was just thinking of one example. You were talking about something earlier, and I made a note here, but now I'm not sure. I'm drawing a blank of exactly what to relate it back to. But anyway, we started working with this client recently that came into working with us already doing $500,000 a month in revenue. And their paid ads are god awful. I could literally write better ad copy in my sleep. Their organic is not good. And I was really surprised when I saw the inside of this guy's business. They hired us on a $30K monthly retain, $5K a month, 6-month retainer deal to work inside of their business. So it turned into a $30K package we sold these guys. And they want us to come in and kind of audit their marketing team. Now, this company, they've outsourced all of these things to subcontractors. They have a paid copywriter, a paid media buyer, and a paid organic person. But those three don't even work in integration with each other. They're all on different schedules. They don't know which hand is scratched. It's a big cluster F. No one had expectations, accountability. So I got on the call with them and I was starting to work with each one of these people individually to figure out their role. And then I got on the call with the business owner. I'm like, hey, John, what does Nicole even do? I just had an hour-long session with her. You told me she's your organic person. And she says, I write some posts and I give them to John and he posts the ones that I like. I'm like, so what is that, 10 minutes a day? Like, she writes a post and sends it to you. So you pay her $3,000 a month for this? And he's like, actually, I've actually done most of my organic posting lately. I'm like, why do you have an organic? I'm like, it's just all this shit was baffling. I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but yeah, but we're getting to work with clients now that like, I'm like, so what I'm trying to figure out, John, is how the fuck do you have a $400,000 or $500,000 a month business when your marketing sucks? You know, it sucks. These people have no direction and no expectations, and no one's steering the ship. He's like, my product's just that fucking good. He's like, I have a 90-something% success rate, and I charge very high ticket. My lowest package is $16K. He's got some that are $50,000 and $75K. So
what does he do?
He's a business coach in essence.
What the freak?
He's in Dan Henry's 50K mastermind. He's been in Russell's 50K mastermind. He spends a lot on stuff, and he really sounds like he knows a lot about marketing. But then when you look at his team, it's awful marketing, like awful. It is very piss poor. So the only thing left for you to do here, what I'm going to do after this call is, once this recording converts, it's going to take a while because we've been going a bit, but I'll send you a copy of the call recording. I'm going to send you over this document, and I would just say, fill this in on your own. Your tagline is another word for your bio for Facebook, 101 characters or less. I don't remember looking. You probably already have something in a bio. I'm not sure.
I do right now. What are your thoughts on it? It's basically says, let me just pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up for me super quick. I'm actually recording. I've been working with clients in a one-on-one capacity, helping them learn how to write taglines and bios because I'm sick of writing them for people just because they, well, I'm sick of it because they make it.
Well, you got to think, I'm learning what you're teaching, and then I'm teaching it right away to help me get it down.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm trying to do a lot of it. I know I don't have a star right in here, but I can share my screen. Maybe I can't share my screen, but it says this.
Should be able to. Multiple participants can share simultaneously is on.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
I even upgraded my Zoom recently.
So this just says helping coaches and consultants launch high ticket programs with 7 interviews and tech integration.
Decent. I think it can be better though.
I think so too.
So I was just saying, I had been working with clients one-on-one, teaching them how to do these, which doesn't take long for me. That was after I used to just write them for clients. And not that I actually enjoy doing the writing the bios. What I hate is people are tweaking or changing their offer a little, and then they'll send me a note. Hey, Ray, can you go write me a new bio? I changed this about my offer. And like, because I never taught them how to do it. They just keep coming back asking me to keep writing new ones for them. So gotcha. I had been doing this one-on-one. I have part of my day mapped out today to turn it into a tutorial. So why don't I just create that and send it over to you, and that will give you a little help because
that sounds good.
It's going to alleviate my time. I already mapped it into my day to build out a
tutorial. Yeah, I already appreciate the time you've given me. Can I ask you 2 more questions real fast?
Fire away.
Just for clarification. So I saw you. So let's start this one. How many friends requests and messages can we send per day? Like, is there a warm up for that? Because to me, from what I've seen of your stuff, you don't really worry about the automation of stuff because you're like, no, I just do all my organic from my personal profile. Do you use any automation from your personal profile?
Personally, no. As team members and other people here, yes. I don't know if you've gone through it. You said you've gone through all my stuff in the guides, the actual organic implementation modules.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours worth of shit, just me.
Yeah, and you said like 30. You said you did 30 on Monday, 30 Correct. Friend requests in one day. Can I do that on personal profile? Am I going to get flagged for spam and stuff at 30?
Hell no. No, hell no. Under 50, you're good.
Okay, under 50 per day?
Yeah, don't ever go above 49.
Actually, I did some. Yeah, I actually did like 50 or to 100 when I worked with a coach before. Just this year, though, around January. We tested out. It was a simple organic method or outreach as well. So I'm kind of connecting to 50, at least 50 coaches every day.
I say under 50 a day because I've seen accounts get flagged once you go above that number. I've seen it multiple times.
Okay.
So I would say
will do that for. I bought a Facebook account like probably
a
month ago or whatever. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. So and I have a VA that I just hired too. She's awesome. So I'll probably get her to implement that and then go for Kevin's thing and start doing that. It's like a team member thing. But for now, yeah. So keep it under 50. And then is there anything? Do I need to warm up to that though, or is it pretty?
To that number?
Yeah.
No. Like when I started, back when I worked at Traffic and Funnels, you could do 100 a day without getting dinged whatsoever. I know it has changed a bit since then. And I know from plenty of clients, it's become a bit more stringent. Is that the word I'm looking for? Restrictive, whatever. Yeah. And now I've heard of people getting flagged when they get to that 50 number. So I would recommend staying under. I'm not saying you can't try more, especially if it's your direct profile. Sure, you could test around with it. If it was your profile, I wouldn't want to take that chance of trying 50. And
what about the messages themselves? Like when I send like, hey, great to connect. That was my question. Mm-hmm. When I'm saying, hey, great to connect, then so when you're doing your How Heroes, for example, if I go and like their comment and then send a friend request, do I send immediately, hey, did you ever get a direct answer to this? Or do I send, hey, great to connect, wait some time, and then send the How Hero?
Yeah, no, very good question. I think that depends on why you're sending the request and where do you find this person? Did you find this person in a group and you're actually asking if they got an answer to a particular subject? I would go right away. If it's more of a cold approach, you've just added them as a friend.
Then I would just use cold outreach.
Yeah.
And I would do your method of waiting 24 hours.
Exactly. Yeah, for the same reason I said, like when somebody adds me as a friend, if they're in my DM in 5 minutes, hey, Ray, did you get to hear about our cryptocurrency? Like I know if they accept my request and they're in my DM in 30 seconds, they're pitching me some bullshit. And I hate it. So I don't want to be that guy personally.
Even if it's like, so when you friend them, you don't even send them, hey, great to connect, you just friend them or what?
You just broke up for 1 second. Can you repeat?
Sorry. Can you hear me right now?
It's really shoddy all of a sudden.
There you go. How about now?
Now it's perfect.
Now? Yep. Perfect. When you send the first friend request, do you even say, hey, great to connect, or do you literally not send anything and just wait for 24 hours?
When I send a friend request, I can't say anything until they accept, or else it's going to go into a spam. I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay. So when you say you're waiting 24 hours after you friend somebody, that's cold outreach. Yep. You only click the friend request. You're not sending in you're not typing in anything else.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Correct. Then I would go back at the end of the day or the next day and look at my most recent friend connections and jot down, okay, I used to keep a note of it. Now I just, I do it more digitally. I used to actually, I
used a CRM that was like Genius Messenger. It worked really well.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be perfect for it. But I would basically just track, okay, my 10 connections today, these 10 people accepted my connection request. I'm going to wait about 24 hours. Wednesday morning, I'm going to wake up and shoot them all a cold initial message. If it's cold outreach, I think that waiting 24 to 48 hours makes a big difference. And I noticed that through plenty of testing and doing.
And you do the voice thing too when you do your.
I prefer my replies got a lot better. More so,
like I said, but yeah, I get you.
More so is the attitude that came back from the people of how this was unique, and just give them more incentive to reply.
You're a genius, Ray. You're a freaking genius.
Well,
and then my only last question then was I saw on. Teachable went all sketchy. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
Okay, and then I'm going to get off this call for you here in 2 minutes. But I saw stuff like the 80-20 copy from courses that were like close enrollment. I'm pretty sure I saw all your internal stuff on Teachable of like, this is how you're teaching VAs and stuff. My question is, are there stuff that you teach VAs in how to analyze posts and stuff like that we aren't getting taught necessarily? And is there a way to know that, I guess? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Because my whole piece is like doing the social media posting for them and being able to do that really well is, am I missing pieces?
So what you're not seeing,
like if there's a paywall that I need to figure out, does that make sense?
Yeah. No, what you're not seeing internally is, so they go through what we call PDocs boot camp, which is very similar training to our 7-day challenge. So that you're familiar with. They're understanding the root of PDocs, the research, how it applies to organic platforms, Facebook in particular, I would say. Then we're divvying them up and they're going through 4 additional trainings. That you're not seeing. You're not seeing the media buying, the copywriting, the appointment setting, and the project manager training that they go through. That's done actually internally through our ABT affiliate agency. And they go through that. So that is not accessible to you guys to see those exact trainings. I can't get it to you or get you in contact with the person if you think that's relevant and something you need.
I feel like the copywriting would be the most interesting piece for me, to be honest with you.
Cool.
So if that's something that you want to figure out that I could get access to in some way or form,
I'll get access to it.
I'd be interested for that.
I'll get you access to it for free.
Dude, if you do that, I will do whatever you want.
Don't say that.
Well, dude, honestly, you've got some freaking high trust here. So I honestly appreciate your time massively, Raymond. You've been freaking awesome this whole process.
Yeah, you just took my longest offer creation call ever. You took the record. I'm going to type you in a Guinness
Dude, I so
book of
appreciate
clients.
you. You're the man. I'll get out
All
of
right,
here.
let me do a little research. There's 2 people I'm going to hit up internally from our AB2 agency who run our VAs through those trainings, and let me see what I can get for you in terms of course content that we put them through.
Dude, Raymond, I freaking love you. You're freaking the
best. Give me a day or 2 on that one. I don't think I'll have an answer by the end of today, but give me a couple of days on that one.
Totally. Appreciate you.
All right, awesome, bro. So
Thanks,
I will send you over this call recording, and I will send you over a copy of your offer